Greetings, Doctor, and my fellow classmates. We are from Group 4. We'll be presenting Tutorial 1, discussing the question in Chapter 4, the Management Environment. To begin with, the first question asks, how much impact do managers actually have on an organization's success or failure? To answer the question, managers do have a significant impact on an organization's success or failure because they set the tone for the entire organization, and their actions and decisions have a significant impact on the values, beliefs, and behaviors of employees. The CEO's leadership style, communication style, and vision for the company are crucial factors in shaping the culture. Other leaders and managers also play a crucial role in shaping the organization's culture, as they are responsible for implementing the CEO's vision and values on a day-to-day basis. They are also responsible for modeling the behavior that they want to see in their employees and ensuring that the organization's culture aligns with the company's goals and values. So, effective managers can improve productivity, enhance customer satisfaction, reduce costs, and also increase the profits. There are actually two sides of the coin that discuss the impact a manager has on the organization's success or failure. The first one is omnipotent and the second one is symbolic. We'll start with omnipotent, which is manager is directly responsible for the success and failure of the organization. And if the goals and decisions that managers choose are correct, the organizations will thrive and vice versa. For a symbolic view, organization success or failure can be attributed to factors in the external environment, while management decisions are often flawed and poorly implemented due to factors beyond their direct control. Basically, omnipotent argues manager is in direct control of the result, while symbolic states that managers have low impact on the outcome. That's all from me. I'll pass to the next presenter.
Thank you, Ilman Hazik. Now I will present to you the answer for the question 2. Why do managers need an understanding of what happens outside their organizations? Give examples of how changes in the external environment can affect their job. First, we need to understand what is external environment. External environment refers to factors, forces, situations, and events outside the organization, which might or fully affect the organization performance. It includes several different components, for example, economics, demographic, technological, socio-cultural, politic, and global. Now let me explain to you what is all the components is all about. The economic component encompasses factors such as interest rates, inflation, changes in disposable income, stock market fluctuation, and business cycle stages. While demographic component is concerned with trends in population characteristics such as age, race, gender, education level, geographic location, income, and family composition. The technological component is heavily focused on scientific or industrial innovations. And lastly, the socio-cultural component is concerned with societal and cultural factors such as values, attitudes, traits, trends, traditions, lifestyle, beliefs, tastes, and patterns of behavior. Now let me explain to you how the changes in external environments through these components can affect the manager's job, decisions, and actions. Two examples of how changes in economic can affect a manager's job is through an economic recession and economic boom. In an economic recessionary, consumers tend to cut back on spending, and this can affect the sales of the organization. This can lead to a decline in revenue and profit, and managers may have to make tough decisions such as reducing costs, laying off employees, or cutting back on investments. On the other hand, during an economic boom, managers may need to hire more employees, increase production, and expand operations to meet increase in market demand. Next, changes in the demographic component can have significant implications for managers. For example, an aging population can lead to changes in consumer behavior and preference, as well as changes in the labor force. A manager in the healthcare industry, for instance, may need to adapt their service to the needs of an aging population. Additionally, a manager in a retail company may need to adjust their marketing strategies to appeal to different age groups. Another example of how changes in external environment can affect a manager's job is through technological changes. For instance, the emergence of new technologies such as AI, robotics, and blockchain can disrupt traditional business models and industries. Managers need to stay aware of such developments and assess how they can leverage these technologies to improve the efficiency and competitiveness of their organization. Additionally, social and cultural changes can also impact managers' job. For example, managers in a multinational organization may need to be sensitive to cultural differences and adapt their management styles to suit different cultures. Also, changing social attitudes towards issues such as sustainability, diversity, and inclusions may require managers to change their policies and practice to align with these values.
Hi, I'm Afi Aris and present question 3. How has the changing economy affected what managers do? Find 2 or 3 examples in current business periodical of activities and practice that organizations are using. Discuss them in the light of the changing environment. From the question, my example 1 is emphasize on digital transformation, like pandemic. It accelerates our economy towards digitalization, which means a lot of organizations and managers they must adopt it to meet needs from the online customer. So what they really do is they investing to technologies and the online platform to enhance their online presence. The example is Walmart, the supermarket company. They do is invest into the e-commerce capability, which is Walmart Plus, and they also launch the membership program so they can compete with the Amazon Prime, which is another rival of the shopping platform. And they also upgrade their service in delivery and pickup so they can boost the sales. Example 2 is emphasis on agility and resilience. After the pandemic, these both characteristics are important to the organization, so they must adapt quickly to the changing market conditions. So what they really do is they adopt the agile methodologies in production so they can improve the responsiveness to the market. That example is Protect and Gamble, the consumer goods company. They are improve supply chain and production by using the agile methodology. As a result, it enables to the company respond quickly to the demand pattern and supply chain disruption. Example 2 is emphasis on agility and resilience. After the pandemic, these both characteristics are important to the organization, so they must adapt quickly to the changing market conditions. So what they really do is they adopt the agile methodologies in production so they can improve the responsiveness to the market. That example is Protect and Gamble, the consumer goods company. They are improve supply chain and production by using the agile methodology. As a result, it enables to the company respond quickly to the demand pattern and.
Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Istasim Biazawuddin, and today I'm going to present discussion question number 4. Why is it important for managers to pay attention to demographic trends and shifts? Before I am answering the question directly, I would like to tell you guys in a simple way what is demographic trends and shifts. Let's see an easy example. Right now, based on the report statistic from United Nations, it shows that this year, in 2023, Malaysia is estimated to be an aging country, which means that more than 7% of our country population are having aged more than 65 years. This is the result of continued decline in fertility rates and increased life expectancy. So, for the first reason why demographic trends are so important for managers to consider is the impact on the workforce. Demographic trends can have a significant impact on the composition of an organization's workforce. For instance, the aging population in many countries means that there will be a greater need for healthcare and retirement services in the coming years. Managers need to be aware of these demographic shifts to ensure that they are recruiting and retaining the right talent to meet the needs of the organization. They may need to develop new training and development programs to help their employees to adapt with the changing work environments such as remote work or flexible schedules. Another example would be as the baby boomers who are on the verge of retirement. managers are faced with a younger workforce with different ideas of work and organizational commitment. This change in society will also present an opportunity as more seniors will demand a greater emphasis on healthcare and other services that are important to an aging population. Second is customer needs and preference. Demographic trends can also shape an organization's understanding of their customer base. For example, as the millennial generations become more significant consumer group, organizations need to understand their unique needs and preference. Millennials are known for valuing authenticity, social responsibility, and convenience, which can influence the products and services that organizations offer. By understanding these trends, managers can tailor their marketing and sales strategies to appeal to different customer groups and differentiate their offerings from competitors. Lastly is business strategy. Demographic trends can also shape an organization's overall business strategy. For example, as the world populations become increasingly urbanized, organizations may need to shift their focus towards cities and urban areas to capitalize on new opportunities. Similarly, as the global population ages, organizations may need to focus on developing new products and services that cater to the needs of older adults, such as healthcare and retirement services. By understanding these trends, managers can make strategic decisions that position their organizations for success in the long term. Let's see an example. E-hailing cars such as Uber may introduce a new service such as Uber Comfort, which is a better and a more comfortable car. This can be introduced especially in the aging country to fulfill the new market demand by that. This is due to the reasons that elderly people need more comfortable to cater their retirement daily life. In conclusion, demographic trends and shifts can have a significant impact on an organization's workforce, customer base, and overall business strategy. By paying attention to all these trends and making informed decisions, managers can ensure that their organizations remain competitive and relevant in the face of changing market conditions.
Thank you, Yasin, for the excellent explanation. I will continue for question 5. Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Yusuf and I will explain to you guys the answer for question 5. The question is, businesses operate in the external environment. Discuss whether managers experience environmental stability in their business operations. In this context, provide local examples of environmental stability and environmental uncertainty. Before I start answering the questions, let me first explain to you guys what is exactly environment stability and environment uncertainty. Firstly, the meaning or definition of environment stability is it refers to the degree of consistency and predictability in the external environment in which an organization operates. It is the state where the factors and conditions outside of the organization remain relatively constant over time, allowing the organization or managers to plan, execute strategies, and conduct business with minimal disruptions. Environmental stability is desirable for businesses because it provides a sense of certainty and allows for better long-term planning and decision making. When the external environment is stable, organizations can develop and implement strategies with confidence, allocate resources efficiently, and focus on achieving their goals and objectives. This is because when environmental stability occurs, it means that there is no change in the situation outside of the organization where the situation is beyond the organization control. However, in reality, most organizations operate in an environment of uncertainty and constant changes. Next is environment uncertainty. It refers to the degree of change and complexity in an organization environment. In business operations, environmental uncertainty will make it difficult for managers to make predictions because of the complexity and ambiguity in the external environment that surrounds an organization. Environmental uncertainty also represents the degree of difficulty that managers face in understanding and forecasting the factors and conditions that can impact the business performance, strategies of the business organization. It also poses challenges for managers as it hampers their ability to predict and plan for the future. So, to overcome this problem, it requires the manager to be agile, adaptable to the external environment, responsive in their decision making and strategies. They may need to engage in developing plans for the situation beyond their expectation to reduce their risk and seize opportunities in uncertain environment and also build flexibility in their operations. Since uncertainty is a threat to an organization's effectiveness, managers try to minimize it. If the managers have a choice, they would surely prefer to operate in the least uncertain environments, but they does not have control of the external environment in business operations. In addition, the nature of the external environment today is the most dynamic. It exposed to the most changes, which make the environment more uncertain. Therefore, managers need to continuously monitor the external environment, adapt their strategies, and build resilience to effectively navigate both stable and uncertain business conditions. So, my answer to the first question is managers do not experience environmental stability in their business operations. The external environment is constantly changing, and managers must be able to adapt to these changes to ensure their organization success. For your information, business operate in an external environment that constrains and challenges managers. Apart from the constraints posed by its impacts on jobs, employment, and the other various factors, an environmental uncertainty is usually will present in business operations. But even though the managers do not experience environmental stability in their business operations, managers can still experience varying degree of environmental stability in their business operations, which means that there is a combination of environmental stability and environmental uncertainty. However, it is important to note that complete and absolute stability in the business environment is rare and almost impossible. Most industries and organizations operate in dynamic and ever-changing environments, which involve some level of uncertainty. Nevertheless, certain factors or circumstances can contribute to a relatively stable business environment for managers. Here are a few factors that can contribute to environmental stability for managers, which is predictable demand patterns and well-established market positions. Predictable demand patterns is when an organization operates in an industry with relatively stable and predictable customer demand. For instance, essential products or services with consistent demand, such as food, healthcare, or basic household goods. These types of products may provide managers with a more stable operational environment. So, managers can experience a certain degree of environmental stability. Second factor is well-established market positions. It refers to the companies that have established a strong market position and already have a loyal customer base. These types of companies may experience a higher level of stability. These organizations often have a good relationship with their suppliers, distribution channels, and also customers. So this kind of relationship can provide the managers with a certain level of predictability in their business operations and strategy. Next is the local examples for environmental stability and environmental uncertainty. The local examples of environmental stability and uncertainty can be observed in a variety of industries. For example, the food industry experiences both stability and uncertainty in its external environment. The demand for food is relatively stable, but changing consumer preferences and trends can lead to uncertainty and instability in the market. For instance, the shift towards healthier eating habits and plant-based diets has created uncertainty for many traditional food companies who must now adapt their offerings or their menu to meet the changing consumer demand. As we know, in the internet or social media, consumers will always attracted to viral food or viral drinks, which can be challenging to the food and beverage company because of the uncertainty in which consumer preferences will change in the future. This will make it hard for the managers to plan for the future. The example of environmental uncertainty can be seen in the retail industry, which has experienced significant disruption in recent years due to the rise of e-commerce after the COVID-19 incident. Many traditional brick and mortar retailers have struggled to adapt to this new environment as consumers increasingly turn to online shopping. This has created significant uncertainty and instability in the retail industry, as companies must constantly adapt to changing consumer behavior and new technological advancement. This is a really unpredictable event because retailers would never expect that there will be a time that everyone in the world needs to be quarantined and they need to close their business in a long period of time. After the quarantine, they also need to adapt to the business online. So, managers cannot control the situation because it is outside of their control. In conclusion, managers must be able to adapt to changes in the external environment in order to ensure their organization survival and success. Okay, that's all from me. I will pass on to the next presenter.
Thank you, Muhammad Yusuf. Back again with me. Before we continue to the task number 2 of our presentation, which is answering the discussion questions, let us look at what is the details of our case study. In short, our case study is all about the end of the previous terrible and toxic management of a famous transportation provider company, Uber. The beginning of the end for Uber founder Travis Kalanick due to a blog post by former Uber engineer Susan Fowler regarding toxic work culture hostile to women and how the higher-ups willing to turn a blind eye to abuses to their connections such as employees, competitors, and customers. Just like other businesses' origin, Uber started because of an annoying problem. Travis Kalanick, the original founder of Uber, and a friend were having trouble hailing a cab or taxi and wonder how convenient it would be if people would get a ride with just one tap. However, the founder's aggressive style and approach to doing business was fraught with danger, especially as seen in the values that shape Uber's culture. The company foundational belief that focus heavily to pursue hypergrowth at all costs, with mottos such as always be hustling and toe-stepping, do not show any evidence of collaboration and teamwork value in the company. Example given in the case study like achievements were celebrated and males would engage in push-up contests, which isolate female employees and other employees who did not want to engage in that type of behavior. As if corporate values and culture were not enough, there are examples of unethical decisions and actions by Kalanick and other managers, such as a dashcam video went viral of Kalanick arguing over fares with an Uber driver. A report released on a secret Uber technology called Greyball, which used to identify and deny service to riders who had violated Uber's contractual terms. Furthermore, the company's president for the Asia-Pacific region somehow obtained and shared the confidential medical record of a rape victim regarding a rape case by a Uber driver in India. After such extent, executives dare to propose an outrageous theory that the rape might have been a setup by an Indian rival. The company also had a reputation for ignoring local labor laws and taxi rules. Uber had become a favorite target for law enforcement officials. So, the company routinely used a remote system to lock down office equipment to shield files from the police raids. Lastly, key executive drivers and employees at rival ride-hailing companies were secretly spied upon for the express purpose of acquiring trade secrets. Other than that, a data breach was hidden for over a year and unsafe cars were knowingly leased to the drivers in Singapore. In the end, firm's biggest investors eventually forced out Kalanick and changed the leadership to Dara Khosrowshahi, who have an opposite characteristic and management style of Kalanick, and would provide Uber with the opportunity to refocus and recreate a new culture. Okay, that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Afifuddin bin Zahari and I will presenting for case study question 411. So what role does a CEO play in an organization culture? What role do other leaders or managers play and what role should they play? Hi everyone, For this slide, I will covering about the role of the CEO, leaders and manager. So let's take a look for the CEO. First is the CEO is responsible for setting the organization vision, mission and goals. It is their job to ensure that these are communicated effectively throughout the organization. The CEO communication style, attitude and behavior set the tone for the company, culture and employees often take cues from the CEO's action. Secondly, the CEO also play a key role in establishing and reinforcing the organization value. They should lead by example and demonstrate the behavior that are expected of employees. For example, if the organization values honesty and integrity, the CEO must model this value in their own behavior. And lastly, another important role of the CEO is to create a positive work environment that fosters employee engagement and productivity. This might involve providing opportunities for employees' growth and development, promoting work-life balance, and recognizing and rewarding employees' achievement. Next, let's move on to other leaders and manager. So firstly is empowering employees. Leaders and manager can empower employees by providing them with the resources, training and support they need to succeed. This can help to build a culture of innovation and continuous improvement. Secondly, promoting ethical behavior. Leaders and managers must promote ethical behavior and hold themselves and others accountable for following ethical standards. This can help to build a culture, integrity and trust. And lastly, encouraging their teamwork. Leaders and managers can encourage a teamwork by creating opportunities for collaboration and recognizing the achievement of teams. This can help to build a culture of cooperation and support. Hi everyone, in this slide, I will cover up and explain the difference between leadership style of two generation CEO Ubers in our case study. Who is Travis Kalanick and Dara Khosrowshahi. Travis Kalanick and Dara Khosrowshahi are two CEOs of Uber with different leadership style. Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, has a reputation for being strong and assertive leaders, whereas Dara Khosrowshahi is known for being more collaborative and inclusive. Here are some characteristics of each leadership style as described in the management environment chapter. So, in generation Travis Kalanick, the characteristic he has is strong wild, which is Kalanick is known for his strong personality and willingness to take a risk. Secondly, he also can be assumed as aggressive, which is Kalanick has been criticized for his aggressive approach to business, which has sometimes led to clashes with regulators, competitors, and even his own employees. And lastly, also independent, which is Kalanick was known for making decisions without consulting the company's board of directors or other stakeholders. Moving on, it is opposite with the Dara Khosrowshahi characteristic. Dara Khosrowshahi characteristic is more collaborative, which is known for his collaborative approach to leadership, working closely with employees, customers, and other stakeholders. Secondly, is inclusive, which is Khosrowshahi has made a concerted effort to build a more inclusive culture at Uber, also focusing on issues like diversity and inclusion. And lastly, he also can be described as a transparent, which has been more transparent than Kalanick, communicating more openly with employees and stakeholders about the company plans and challenges. In summary, overall, other leaders and managers play a critical role in shaping an organization culture by promoting a positive behavior and values among their teams. By creating a positive work environment, leading by example, empowering employees, promoting ethical behavior, and encouraging teamwork, they can help to build a culture that supports the success of the organization. So I think that's all from me. I will pass the floor to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Faris bin Jusaini. I will be presenting question 4.12 using Exhibit 4.4, describe Uber's culture under its founder. Okay, based on Exhibit 4.4, organizational culture affects managers in two ways. Through its effect on what employees do and how they behave, and through its effect on what managers do as they plan, organize, lead, and control. We can describe Uber's culture under its founder, Travis Kalanick, as aggressive and focused on pursuing hypergrowth at all costs. This culture was characterized by a desire to win at all costs and a willingness to confront challenges head-on, even if it means stepping on toes or disregarding rule and regulation. The company's valued a sense of principle behavior, which was reflected in mottos such as always be hustling and toe stepping. This focus on being principled may have been seen as a way to justify the company's aggressive tactic, which include entering new markets without regard for local regulation and engaging in fierce competition with established taxi services. Okay, next slide. Okay, this culture was also marked by a lack of emphasis on collaboration or teamwork. Instead, the individual achievement was celebrated often with chest bump, push-up contests. This emphasis on individual achievement may have contributed to a culture of cutthroat competition where employees are more focused on outdoing each other than on working together to achieve shared goals. The action and decision of Kalanick and other managers had to reinforce this culture. For example, Kalanick was known for his aggressive management style, often berating employees who did not meet his high standards. Other managers at the companies were also known for their abrasive behavior, which may have contributed to a toxic work environment. Overall, Travis Kalanick had organized and created a toxic and unfair culture for many. He did not make space for partnership and collaboration. Rather, he concentrates solely on achievement, glory, and wealth. He also gave space for critique and misogyny. He screamed at the workers and made them feel worthless and undervalued. He permits difficulties and crime to arise and did not take steps to correct them. To sum up, he created a poor business environment and culture, ultimately dooming the firm to failure. I think that's all from me, so I will pass the floor to the next person.
Greetings everybody, my name is Venkatesh and I'll begin presenting on the third question from our case study. So, the third question of case study. Which view of management do you see played out here? The omnipotent or the symbolic? Explain. Well, before we dive deep into this question, I would say we have to break down the meaning of omnipotent and symbolic view. So, the omnipotent view of management is based on the assumption that managers are directly responsible for an organization's success or failure, and this view posits that managers have complete control over an organization's destiny and that their decisions and actions determine its performance. According to this view, the CEO is the ultimate authority figure in an organization and their actions can make or break the company. In the case of Uber, Kalanick's leadership styles and values were at the core of the company's culture. His approach to management was aggressive and focused on hypergrowth and winning at all costs. He was known for his confrontational attitude and mottos like always be hustling and toe-stepping. Kalanick believed that his leadership was critical to Uber's success and he made decisions that reflected this belief. For instance, he ignored local labor laws and taxi rules and even developed a secret technology called the Grey Ball to identify and deny service to riders who had violated Uber's contractual terms. Furthermore, he allegedly engaged in unethical practices such as spying on rival ride-hailing companies to acquire trade secrets. So the omnipotent view of management aligns with Kalanick's leadership style and values. He believed that his leadership was critical to Uber's success and made decisions based on his belief. However, his aggressive approach to management ultimately proved to be detrimental to the company's culture, and his resignation was necessary for Uber to refocus and recreate a new culture. So that is on the omnipotent view. So what about the symbolic view of management? Well, the symbolic view of management, on the other hand, suggests that managers have limited control over an organization's success or failure, and this view posits that an organization's success is largely determined by external factors such as the economy, the market conditions, and the actions of competitors. According to this view, managers are primarily responsible for interpreting and also implementing the organization's culture and values, which are largely determined by the broader social and cultural content. And in this case, in the case of Uber, the company's culture was shaped by Kalanick's values, which include hypergrowth and winning at all costs, and a confrontational attitude, of course. Although these values were, not illegal, they likely alienated female employees and other employees who did not want to get caught up in that type of behavior. The company's culture was also categorized by a baller work environment, where achievements were celebrated by chest bumps and also where males engaged in push-up contests. So such an environment was not illegal, but likely created a hostile work environment for women because rewarding by chest bump is considered as an inappropriate act when from a woman's point of view. So a symbolic view of management aligns with the role of managers in shaping an organization's culture and values, where managers are responsible for interpreting and implementing the organization's culture and values, which are largely determined by broader social and cultural content. In the case of Uber, Kalanik's values and culture shaped by the company's operations, but they ultimately proved to be detrimental to the company's culture. So, which view is it, you may ask? The omnipotent or symbolic? Well, to summarize, from my explanation on both measure views, I would say the statement the CEO is the ultimate authority figure in an organization and their actions can make or break the company aligns with the omnipotent view of management. They argue that an organization's success is largely determined by external factors such as the economy, market conditions, and the actions of competitors aligns with the symbolic view of management. In the case of Uber, Kalanik's leadership styles and values were at the core of the company's culture, which aligns with the omnipotent view of management. However, the company's culture was also shaped by broader social and cultural factors, which aligns with the symbolic view of management. Ultimately, both views have some relevance in understanding the dynamics at play in Uber's rise and fall. In conclusion, the omnipotent view is played in Uber. Now, let us move on to the fourth question of our case study. What advice about the organizational culture would you give the new CEO? So before we answer this question, let us understand the meaning of organizational culture. Organizational culture here refers to the shared values, beliefs, behaviors, and customs that shape the way people work together within an organization. It is an essential component of an organization's success, and as such, the new CEO of Uber must take steps to address the cultural issues that led to company's negative publicity. Mr. Dara here faces a significant challenge in transforming Uber's culture and rebuilding its reputation. So to achieve this, he must first understand the root cause of the toxic work environment and address them systematically. As part of this process, he may need to change the company's values, the company's goals, and reward systems to reflect a culture that emphasizes collaboration, teamwork, and ethical behavior. And how does he do so? He can start by establishing clear expectations for all employees and managers to demonstrate respect and professionalism towards one another, customers, and stakeholders. The new CEO should assess the current culture of the organization, and this assessment should involve identifying the current values, the behaviors, the customs that guide the organization's operations. Mr. Dara here should also examine the company's history and its core values to identify areas where change is needed. And one way to evaluate the current culture is through their surveys, the interviews, and even through observation of employees. After evaluating the current culture, the new CEO should define the desired culture. This involves identifying the values, the beliefs, the behaviors, and artifacts that the organization wants to promote. The desired culture should be aligned with the organization's mission, vision, and its strategy. In the case of Uber, the new CEO should define a culture that is more inclusive, respectful, and ethical than the previous culture. Once the desired culture has been defined, the new CEO should implement cultural initiatives to promote the desired values, the beliefs, and artifacts. This may involve changes to the organization's policies, its practices, and procedures, as well as training programs for employees. In the case of Uber, the new CEO may implement initiatives to promote diversity and inclusion, such as by hiring more female employees, more female and minority employees, creating a safe reporting system for harassment and discrimination, as well as providing training programs for employees to promote respectful behavior. So Mr. Dara here should also lead by example and model the behavior he wants to see in his employees. So it should begin from him as well. He should set the tone from the top by regularly communicating with employees about the company's values and goals and providing them guidance and support for ethical decision making. He should also hold managers and employees accountable for their actions and create a culture of transparency and accountability. In the case of Uber, the new CEO should model the behaviors that promote a respectful, inclusive, and ethical culture, such as speaking out against harassment and discrimination and treating all employees with respect and dignity. To address the allegations of sexism and sexual harassment, Mr. Dara should work with the board to implement the recommendations of former Attorney General Eric Holder's investigation into the company's workplace culture, and this may include changes to the company's human resources policies, training programs, and reporting mechanism for incidents of harassment or discrimination. The new CEO should also ensure that employees feel safe and valued in the workplace by establishing channels for employees to voice their concerns and also provide resources for support and counseling. So the new CEO should promote diversity and inclusivity. So the CEO should develop policies and programs that promote the diversity and inclusivity as well in the workplace. And this includes creating an environment where all employees feel valued and respected, regardless of their gender, race, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. Mr. Dara should focus on rebuilding trust with customers, regulators, and law enforcement officials. He can achieve this by acknowledging the company's past ethical lapses, demonstrating a commitment to ethical behavior, and ensuring that company follows all local laws and regulations. He should also work to improve the company's relationship with regulators and law enforcement officials by elaborating with them to address their concerns and demonstrating a commitment to compliance. The final step in changing an organizational culture is to reinforce the culture through rewards, recognition, and feedback mechanism. This involves recognizing and rewarding employees who demonstrate the desired behaviors and values, providing feedback to employees who do not meet the expectations, and holding all employees accountable for upholding the culture. In the case of Uber, the new CEO may reinforce the culture through recognition programs for employees who promote diversity and inclusion, providing feedback to employees who engage in disrespectful behavior, and holding all employees accountable for upholding the values of the new culture. Now, let us proceed with the final question from our case study. From an ethics perspective, what part of the situation disturbs you the most? What career advice as far as ethical behavior could you take away from this story? From an ethics perspective, the part of the situation with Uber that disturbs me the most is the alleged unethical behavior of former CEO Travis Kalanick and other top executives. According to reports, Kalanick and his team engaged in unethical practices such as spying on rival ride-hailing companies, ignoring local labor laws and taxi rules, and developing a secret technology called Greyball to identify and deny service to riders who had violated Uber's contractual terms. This behavior not only violates ethical principles but also undermines the integrity of the company's operations and the trust of its stakeholders, including employees, customers, and investors. One of the key ethical principles violated in this situation is the principle of integrity. Integrity is the quality of being honest, transparent, and ethical in all actions and decisions. The actions of Kalanick and his team demonstrate a lack of integrity, as they engaged in unethical practices to gain a competitive advantage and avoid legal consequences. This behavior not only violates the trust of stakeholders but also damages the reputation of the company and its brand. Another ethical principle that was violated is the principle of responsibility. Responsibility is the obligation to make decisions and take actions that promote the well-being of stakeholders and society. Kalanick and his team here neglected their responsibility to comply with local labor laws and taxi regulations, which put the safety and well-being of customers and drivers at risk. They also engaged in unethical practices that compromised the integrity of the company and violated the trust of stakeholders. From this situation, the career advice as far as ethical behavior that can be taken away is the importance of ethical leadership. Ethical leadership is the demonstration of ethical values and behaviors that influence the actions and decisions of others in the organization. The actions of Kalanick and his team demonstrate the importance of ethical leadership in creating a culture of integrity and responsibility within the organization. Ethical leaders should promote a culture of transparency, honesty, and responsibility, and ensure that all employees understand and adhere to ethical principles. Additionally, companies should establish a strong ethical code of conduct and provide training to employees to ensure that they understand and adhere to ethical principles. Ethical behavior should be rewarded and recognized, and unethical behavior should be addressed promptly and appropriately. By promoting ethical behavior and values within the organization, companies can create a culture of integrity and responsibility that benefits all stakeholders. So another scenario that I would like to highlight would be the rape scenario. The rape scenario is another disturbing ethical issue that is associated with Uber. In 2014, an Uber driver in New Delhi, India, was accused of raping a female passenger. The incident led to public outrage and highlighted the issue of passenger safety on Uber's platform. The victim sued Uber, alleging that the company failed to perform adequate background checks on the driver, which could have prevented the incident. From an ethics perspective, the scenario raises concerns about Uber's duty of care towards its passengers. The company has a responsibility to provide a safe and secure environment for its users, and it is concerned that such a violent crime could occur on its platform. Moreover, Uber's response to the incident was criticized for being insensitive and defensive, which only worsened the public's perception of the company. In terms of career advice related to ethical behavior, the scenario highlights the importance of prioritizing the safety and well-being of stakeholders. As a manager or leader, it is important to recognize that ethical behavior goes beyond just compliance with legal and regulatory standards. It involves taking responsibility for the impact of the organization's action on its stakeholders, including customers, employees, and the broader society. To ensure ethical behavior in an organization, it is essential to establish a strong ethical culture that values integrity, transparency, and accountability. The tone at the top of the behavior and actions of senior leaders sets the standard for ethical conduct in an organization. Therefore, it is crucial for leaders to lead by example and prioritize ethics in their decision-making processes. Moreover, organizations should establish robust systems and processes to identify and manage ethical risks, such as conducting thorough background checks on employees and implementing effective reporting mechanisms for incidents and complaints. By prioritizing ethical behavior and creating a culture of integrity, organizations can build trust and credibility with stakeholders and also avoid damaging incidents such as the one faced by Uber.
And that marks the end of our presentation. Thanks for watching and shoot your questions in the comment section. Thank you.